Does the policyholder actually write you a check for 10%?
Yep.
At what point? After every time you get them a check?
Yeah, every time we get them a check.
Wow. So how many times have you been burnt on that?
Believe it or not, once
Really?
for $1,700.
For $1,700.
Once.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. We are back here with another episode, a refilmed episode. We are refilming an episode that we filmed 5 months ago, something like that. And yours truly is not a videographer and apparently did not focus on my guest and was blurry. And I was not going to allow a blurry episode. Y'all can listen to it, and I know a lot of you listen to this, but I wanted to make sure that we had a good content video for the YouTube channel. So I talked to my guest, and he said, I will fly wherever the fuck you are so that we can refilm this thing and have a good time. So I want to reintroduce my guest, who originally was going to be on season 4, now probably season 5. My friend, Chris Aldrich. Chris, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me back, man.
Yeah.
Maybe blurry might have been a good look for me.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but you fucking brought it up. Yeah, that's fine. So you flew in last night. We were hoping for hail.
Yeah.
We got nothing.
No, I'm usually the curse when I go places.
Yeah.
Things. I usually take storms, I take hurricanes, I take fires.
And just send them away.
Yeah, and the Omadome.
Yeah.
You came up with that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't, but I definitely use it. Yeah. Optimism is a real thing.
Yeah.
Everything just veers off as it gets here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there'll be fucking 9-inch hail everywhere around Omaha, then it just goes around and it's super frustrating.
Yeah.
And then we got to have our culture movement call this morning.
Which was a great call.
Yeah, that was really great to be able to do that.
Really enjoy those guys that are a great group of guys. I mean, we started with 4?
Yeah.
On the call, and we're up to 12,
13. Yeah.
You got the trip coming up. I mean, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make that.
Yeah, you know what? I've really been excited about it. Like, I never thought how much I'd enjoy. I don't like to call it coaching, but like just mentoring and helping and being able to do it in like a somewhat structured environment, right? Because what would get really frustrating, I'm sure you get this a lot, right? Where, I mean, you've been doing the PA thing for a long time.
17 years.
Yeah. And people know who you are and they know that you have a wealth of knowledge, but like you're working your own files and you got your employees that you have to deal with and you've got all these things going on and you can only handle so many phone calls in a day of people just asking for favors and advice and, you know, how they should navigate this, that, and the other. I was getting to a point where I was doing the same thing. And I'm assuming you're like me, like you love helping those people out and you love pouring into those people. But at a certain point, it starts taking away from what you need to be doing. And I was like, well, how do I fix that?
Yep.
Right. And it's like, well, we structure it.
Yep.
Right. We structure it and you pay a couple of bucks.
Give us 2 hours a month.
Yeah. And we put it together. And, you know, what's really been fun is that, you know, there's a handful of guys inside the group that like have very specific things that they want to work on one-on-one with me as well.
Yep.
And we're able to structure that time, right, to be able to do it. And I don't feel bad taking away that time when I can allocate it and it's being compensated for, right, to be able to say, hey, let's really dig in to this. Because at a certain point, you start feeling like you're being taken advantage of as well.
You do. And I mean, you know.
A little, right? Yeah. And I know that's kind of like, you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
But you do.
Yeah, you do. You know, I give back so much between, you know, being a fireman, being a football coach, you know, several grassroots I'm a vice president of a grassroots organization where we built handicap accesses for beaches.
Oh,
for people in wheelchairs and people with disabilities to be able to go down on a beach and, you know, experience the ocean. We started that about 2 years ago when we built 5 access points for beaches.
What happens when they access it?
They basically can take their wheelchairs down almost to the water line, almost to the ocean front. And it's a really cool concept. A friend of mine who I've known for a long time, she's got 2 daughters that are both autistic, and she works for a children's hospital with children's disabilities. And one of the parents said to her, I would love to take my daughter to the beach, and there's just no way to get her down on the sand in a wheelchair. And we came up with a concept. We found these polyethylene mats that you could basically drive a loader on. And we built them out with twin T's, so you could put, 15, 20 wheelchairs out there at any given time. And we've done some great stuff with some municipalities in New Jersey where they've welcomed us on. We, do fundraisers to pay for the materials and pay for the building of the beach, and basically build these beaches. We built 5 so far.
So then are they left there?
No, so they take them up. So the nice part about they're polyethylene panels, and you take this T-handle tool, just unscrew 2 screws, and you just pick them up. And so if there's a storm coming, the departments, Public Works, or the towns or whatever can come in and they can pick them up. In an hour, they can pick up the whole entire system, and they can relay it. In another 2 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, just so everybody knows who you are, we can introduce yourself as far as kind of what you do and your titles.
So my name is Chris Aldrich. I'm the president of Andrew K. Knox and Company. We're a public adjusting firm based in Tom's River, New Jersey. I'm licensed and work currently in about 22 states. I'm also the president of the National Association of Public Insurance Adjusters. Started that journey back in 2013. And basically, NAPIA advocates for public adjusting for the industry, and make sure policyholders get taken care of.
By the way, really cool group.
Yeah.
Right? Like when we did this interview originally, right, we dug into some stuff and I was like, oh, how the fuck do I get a seat at the table to actually have conversation? And it was like, join NAPIA, fucking come be a vendor and blah, blah, blah. And I did. And I'd been there once before, like when we were teaching that class on identifying hail damage. But to come back as a what do you call it, an associate?
As an affiliate
member, thank you. I was very impressed with not only the level of people that were there, right? Because in this industry, you run into a lot of very interesting characters, whether it's in the contracting world or the PA world, right? But a much higher level class of individuals that were running businesses there, but also very gracious and appreciative of the fact that we were there, right? Because we were really the only contractor.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's like, why do you think that is?
So NAPIA got it bad.
And I don't want fucking other contractors coming.
Yeah, so NAPIA got, years and years and years ago, NAPIA got a black eye for something that they had nothing to do with. And everybody out in social media world says, oh, NAPIA, they're the black.
Well, they basically blamed you guys for UPPA.
Yeah.
Right.
And we, listen, we wrote a white paper on it because it was law. I mean, there's nothing, we didn't make the law. There are so many people out there saying that we're behind it. We're not behind it. And I mean,
did you support it?
No, we didn't support it. Got it. So the problem is we had to write a white paper for it because it was law. It wasn't because we wanted to support it. I mean, listen, I work with you.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of other contractors. I work with Paul, and listen, I get the fact that you guys, there's claims where you need us and there's claims where you don't need us.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, you know more about roofs than I do.
Yeah.
And I will never, ever say, Eric, you need to tell them, let me do this. I'm never going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the NAPIA people operate in that same mentality as how I do. We know you've got stuff that you're going to do.
But you said that that's how it is now, right? Did you say that old guard was a little bit different?
No, the old
guard weren't.
No, the old guard really wasn't.
No, somebody said that.
No, the old guard really wasn't. But listen, everybody's got their plates at the table.
Yes.
Everybody, and I mean, one of the greatest lines I've ever heard, stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
And there's people that just think that they can do it all. And you know what? For us, for being advocates for policyholders, it's a team. It's a team approach. You need a contractor to put the building back together. You need a PA to get the claim straightened out. and you need a restoration company, if there's water damage or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a team. And the more we work as a team, the better off as an industry we can be.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Tell me, I have a different question, but I'm going to go this way because I forgot what it was.
That's all right.
I'm old and I fucking forget things really quickly.
Squirrel.
Yeah,
Squirrel.
And I went to an event. It was the Badger event, right? I went to his little what the hell event, right? And it was a very interesting event to be at, right? Like in the fucking Lions Den, right? Like it was interesting, right? One of the big presentations that they were doing, I don't remember if Steve did it or if somebody else did it, but they were very concerned about the relationship between contractors and PAs and who's paying their fee.
Yep.
And I know over the last few years, that's become a big hot topic.
Oh, it's a hot button item.
I wasn't even thinking about talking about it today, but it just kind of reminded me of that. And I wanted to get kind of your take on that. And I know what the rule is and what we're all supposed to do, how we do it the right way. But like, I've got some issues with it as well. In trying to figure out like where should it go or where shouldn't it go?
The money should always go to the policyholder. The money should never go to a trust account. It should never go to an escrow account. It's the cleanest, safest, neatest way for the claim to be resolved. So Chris Aldrich gets involved in a claim that Eric Oberembt has. Eric calls me, Chris, I got problems. I need your help. Chris comes in, signs the policyholder up on my retainer.
Yep.
Policyholder gets paid. The check goes to the policyholder.
Yep.
Eric does his repairs, gets paid by the policyholder. Everything.
How do you get paid?
I get paid by the policyholder when we get them the check.
So, okay, I want to dig into this a little bit because I know people do it differently. So, but if you you have direction of payment where if you've got a contract with the policyholder, the insurance company sends a check, do you take that check and deposit it?
No.
Do an escrow, take the 10% and then kick them a new check?
No.
So do they actually, does the policyholder actually write you a check for 10%?
Yep.
At what point? After every time you get them a check?
Yeah, every time we get them a check.
Wow. So how many times have you been burnt on that?
Believe it or not, once.
Really?
For $1,700.
For $1,700?
Once.
Really?
Yeah, Eric,
Because we get burnt all the fucking time.
listen, so if you're doing the right thing for your people, and Badger and I just had this discussion at NAPIA, Texas Association. If you're doing the right thing for people and you're communicating with your clients and you're doing the job you're supposed to do, hence why I said stay in your lane,
Yep.
you're going to get paid because the people at the end of the day are going to be happy with your performance. The second you step out of your lane and say, hey, I'm going to escrow this money, and out of the escrow, I'm going to pay D&M roofing out of my escrow account, then the wires start to get a little crossed. And if something goes sideways, everybody's the bad guy. You're the bad guy. I'm the bad guy.
Right.
Everybody involved is the bad guy. But if you do the right thing throughout, you're never the bad guy.
So there's other PA companies, though, that use that as a selling tactic for contractors to make sure that the policyholder doesn't renege on the contract and try and push them out, right? I mean, I know that's a big selling point that other ones.
And maybe that's some of the, and I mean, listen, Eric, that's just the way I operate.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. So that's why I was interested to learn a little bit more about it.
And, there's certain contractors that like the way that we do things.
Yeah.
Because it's just cleaner and nobody's going to get bit at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it's cleaner.
Look, and the reality is, the regulators and departments of insurance are looking at all of us every day of the week.
Right.
Every day. And the second you screw up once, you're on everybody's.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the big thing that they were so worried. Why do you think they're so worried about if a contractor is helping absorb a PA's fees?
Well, in certain states like Texas, you have to show that you paid the deductible.
Right.
That's
deductible. That's deductible versus PA fees.
But that gets a little bit gray.
Correct.
Into, well, where's the PA's fee coming out of? Well, the PA's fee is coming out of
The RCV.
10% out of the RCV.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
But my question is why do we think they care?
Because I think insurance companies have this sense that they're overpaying claims, and that 10% would look better in the insurance company's pockets than it would go into a public adjuster or to a contractor or something.
I think it's so that we stop bringing PAs in on claims.
I mean, listen, there's an anti-public adjuster endorsement out there right now in 3 surplus lines carriers.
Ooh.
And NAPIA's fighting. NAPIA.
I would think so.
I can't go into a lot of details, but it's going to become very public very quick, and it's going to cost NAPIA over $1 million in litigation.
Really?
Yeah. But it's something we have to do to protect.
Is it state by state type of thing?
No. So right now, it's in velocity policies.
Okay.
It's in AIG. Surplus
It's already
policies.
there?
Already there. Yeah.
And what does it state?
It basically says that you have an insurance claim, you cannot hire a public adjuster.
How is that legal?
That's what we're going to find out. So I can't go a lot into the specifics.
Well, this is on air for probably 3 months.
But maybe we can, maybe we can do a little, Zoom call, follow up or something where I'll fly back out.
How long is this going to take for
It's probably going to be a couple year legal battle.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But I mean,
So you're trying to get it taken out.
yeah.
Of the ones that it's already in.
Yeah, we're trying to.
But they're trying to still, in the interim, put it in more.
Yeah, and the problem is going to be is that it gets into a admitted carriers. So right now it's a non-admitted carriers. So non-admitted carriers don't have to follow state DOI rules. They can put in their policies whatever they want. So, but if that gets into a State Farm, an Allstate, a Traveler, something else, bye-bye to the industry.
Holy shit. Yeah, they're coming they're coming with big guys.
Well, you know what, Eric? I mean, there's enough money in this business that everybody, to do the right job, can make a great living.
Yeah.
You don't have to make all of your money in 1 year. Don't fuck it up for everybody else.
Correct.
Yeah. Be in the long haul, stay the game, and do the right thing. But there's so many guys, like we talked about at breakfast this morning. There's guys who are in it for a year or two. They want to make as much money as they can make and be done.
Yeah.
And then guys like me who've got 17 years in the industry, guys, some of our NAPIA members have got 60 and 70 years in the industry.
Yeah.
They've worked their whole lives building this up for 1 or 2 firms to fuck it up.
Right. Does Steve agree with those endorsements?
Steve. Well, I don't know. Steve would not give me an opinion when I asked. But Steve has been very candid about, having the benefit of a professional public insurance adjuster.
Right.
So, and I've actually, I've had a number of conversations, because one of the things that I feel is I think the training for public adjusters needs to be a national criteria, and then you need to have state by state nuances for whatever the specific statutes are. But listen, Chip Merlin said it the best. His girlfriend picked up the public adjuster's manual for the Texas public adjuster's license, picked it up at 9 o'clock in the morning, took the test at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 3 o'clock that afternoon, all on the same day, she was a public adjuster.
The bar's a little low.
It is. And Badger is 100% right. And you know what? There's going to be people that are going to disagree with me, but Steve is completely right.
I mean, but I think the bar is a little low to be a fucking contractor too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, people are going to get pissed at me for that. Right. But I don't know, if we're going to be professionals,
hold yourself to a higher standard.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
And you were talking about the NAPIA thing, the NAPIA thing is a little bit different than some of these other conferences, because all of our stuff is CEU driven. So all of the NAPIA courses are specifically structured around certain elements of the claim game. So, there's going to be, you and Paul did the Hale Symposium. I can't tell you how many PAs sit in that class, and we're reading the reviews afterwards, and they were like, holy shit, we didn't know half of the stuff that these guys. So it was a benefit.
Right.
You know, and they're not only there for the networking end of it, they're more so there for the training and the learning.
They're really there for the education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Which is totally different.
Yeah.
Than, like you said, all other conferences.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, our first starting claims conference is, I think it costs $1,000 for 3 days, and you get CD credits in 28 states.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
That's the one that we went to.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah, and that's a great event.
Yeah.
Is it going to be back there again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
We're back there for the next 3 years.
Oh,
We
okay.
started, that's another 3-year conference.
Nice. Yeah. For those who don't know, it's in Boston.
Boston, the first week in Boston.
Is it February,
usually
January?
December 4th through 7th.
Yeah, that's right. So,
Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful time of year to be in Boston.
Yeah. Listen, we've been up there 3 years in a row and it hasn't snowed. So, you know, it was cold.
Not heavy.
Yeah.
Not heavy.
Yeah.
And we got loved at that place. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Place is beautiful.
Yeah, I love that place.
Yeah.
What do you see as the biggest challenge right now in the industry?
The biggest challenge right now is adjusters aren't adjusting anymore. Nobody has authority in the industry. You know, you go out, you meet with adjusters, and, you know, Eric, when I started this business, adjusters had checkbooks. They had authority.
Yeah.
You know, you would literally meet with the adjuster. You'd walk the roof, you'd walk the damage, you'd do whatever. You'd sit there, you'd write your estimates up. You'd spend 3 or 4 hours at a claim with an adjuster. And at the end of the claim, you walked out with a check in your hand.
Yeah.
Now, you get an adjuster shows up at a claim. He's there for half hour.
If you get an adjuster.
Half hour tops. Then they have to go back because they have to report to their manager, who's got to report to the claims manager, who's got to report to the vice president of claims. I made a quote in a newspaper article in the beginning of the year. Number one, nobody has authority. Number two, the adjusters that are coming out there now have no experience.
None.
The insurance adjusting community lost so many good people during COVID because they couldn't go out on inspections. They couldn't go, you know, they couldn't make money. And a lot of the old guard of insurance adjusters retired after COVID, and there became a vacuum where now you've got a lot of young people out there doing it that have absolutely no experience. They don't know the difference between a TPO roof and an EPDM.
But to your point, it doesn't even fucking matter if they do or if they don't because they can't approve anything anyway.
Right.
So, like, they're literally a warm body to show up, to say we showed up, so they can take a couple pictures, send it to somebody else to say, nah, so that everybody can say no. So then they can send it on an engineer. They can say, the engineer can say no. And then you ask for their fucking report, and they're like, well, that's proprietary information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do they get away with that?
Yeah. It's because they hold the checkbook.
But they want our proprietary information.
Yeah.
But we can't see their work product.
Yeah.
Because they still say that shit.
Oh, all the time. All the time. We can give our engineer's report and we can give our information to justify and substantiate the claim.
Right.
But we can't get anything back to view and analyze their opinion.
And that can't be, and I understand their answer to everything is always, well, that's our internal policy.
Right.
Which I give zero fucks about your internal policy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it isn't legal for them to keep that.
I don't believe... I don't know if it is or it's not, Eric.
You usually end up getting it as a PA?
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to get a lawyer to subpoena.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can kiss enough ass and they'll give it to you.
Yeah, and I mean...
Because you're never going to scare them into it unless you subpoena them, right?
No, and, you know, being in a business as long as I have, I've made some connections with some higher-end bosses and stuff that... You know, I could call a claims manager and say, just send me the fucking report number.
Right.
You know, do you really...
There's only one reason that you wouldn't want us to see it.
Right. It's because there's something in there.
Because we're going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's some chicken shit play, right?
It is. You know, and it just seems like every day you go out for an inspection and it's like, what are they going to throw at us today? Yeah. What's the new flavor of the week?
Yeah. I have wanted to, you know, I've been doing this obviously for a long time as well. And I remember I still remember the days when they'd show up with the fucking State Farm van and their office inside. They'd fucking cut you a check, and like you could get on the roof and actually have like a real conversation with somebody, and it wasn't combative and it wasn't shitty. It was just like, look, the roof's damaged. This is what it's going to cost to replace it. And they're like, yeah, that seems reasonable. Right. We moved on with our lives. And the homeowner got a roof in fucking 2 weeks. Right. On a residential claim right now, I mean, it takes us.
You're lucky if you get a roof in 3 months.
Yeah, I was going to say a minute, 60 days, 60 to 90 days from start to finish of the first time you look at it to when you actually
fill the roof.
And then it might take even longer than that to get paid, right? If we're waiting on, because we're waiting on DAP, and like, don't fucking post supplement anything because that's a goddamn nightmare. And I assume you talk to people about that all the time. Man, if you're listening and you're in this industry, and I know we go outside of this industry, but man, if there's one lesson that I learned, I had 1 year that somebody talked me into building the job and supplementing it post. I lost so much fucking money. That is just disaster. Worst idea in the fucking world, right? Whoever sold me that fucking idea, they were very good at selling it. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Build them quick, blah, blah, blah. I had so much AR and couldn't get any of the supplements approved because the job's already fucking built. Doesn't matter how well you document it. If you're in this industry and you're watching, I'm sorry if you're not, but fucking supplement it, sign for a fucking number, and then build the goddamn thing.
Don't rely on supplement. That's terrible.
But I want to go back, and again, this is a very niche episode, right? Because we're very much digging into roofing stuff. So again, sorry. But this interests me. Why anybody would... I wanted to believe in the goodness of some of the people on the other side of the industry, on the insurance side, right? I want to believe in the fact that, that side isn't corrupt, right? While also understanding they are a business, right? They are a for-profit entity. They need to make money. They have to be responsible to their shareholders. And I totally understand that, right? But there's such a dichotomy with that in the fact that their business is predicated on bad things happening to their clients, right? And the fact that you just told me that there's shit being put into policy so that you can't have anybody fight for you to make sure that you're indemnified properly is fucking criminal, because they don't let us help them. We're not allowed, right? Because of UPPA bullshit. We're not allowed to have conversations. We're not allowed to help homeowners other than say, it's damaged. This is what it fucking costs, right? Even if we have the ability to do it, not allowed. And then you're going to come in and say that we're going to put it into policies. Now, granted, their response is going to be, well, you don't have to take that policy then. But on the surplus lines, they can just put it in.
And right? Usually people who are getting surplus lines policies are at the last possibility of getting insurance.
Got it. So it's their last resort.
It's the high risk.
They're high risk lines. So they couldn't go somewhere else anyway.
So it's your big manufacturing facilities. It's your condos on the ocean fronts or the waterfronts.
Which are the most giant fucking policies on the planet. If they have a loss, they're going to be huge.
And on top of the anti-public adjuster endorsement, your alternative dispute resolution is a New York arbitration.
What the fuck does that mean?
You have a New York arbitration panel that if you don't agree with the insurance company, your only method to resolve the insurance claim is to sit for a New York arbitration panel. Which is because New York is a favorable law to insurance companies.
Got it.
So bad faith is not. It's no joke. They have fine-tuned this mechanism in these three policies so that people are just going to be completely screwed and have no recourse whatsoever. Now think about somebody who lives in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that has a velocity insurance policy that has an anti-PA endorsement. Are they going to be savvy enough? And this isn't disrespectful in any means. are they going to be savvy enough to understand what a New York arbitration is, that they have to hire a New York lawyer to represent them for their claim in Lake Charles, Louisiana?
No.
How fucking fair is that? It's not. It's not fair, not even a little bit. And that's why NAPIA is fighting this whole entire thing.
So let me ask this question. Are you optimistic at all?
Oh, yeah.
Are you?
Completely.
Okay.
We wouldn't be walking into a 7-figure litigation if we were not optimistic.
Because after this conversation, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't feel fucking good.
And here, and maybe this helps get it out to the industry, because I've had several other factions and several other associations. They're worried about fighting for fee caps. They're worried about, fighting for other, trivial bullshit. This right here.
If we don't fix this, none of that's
going
going to
to
matter.
the fucking industry. You can have 40% fee caps if you want, to work, but you're not going to go work as a public adjuster,
Right.
And you're not going to be helping your clients.
You're going to be a building consultant with no ability to do anything.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what would end up happening.
Yep.
Right? Is everybody would become a building consultant, and you still
And
wouldn't.
you're going to go write building estimates. That's the only thing you're going to be able to do.
Because you still can't talk policy.
Right. You can't talk policy. You can't negotiate numbers. You're basically going to go out. We're going to all become estimators.
Right. And that's what they want you to be.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Yep.
So I know big pause here, folks, but that just kind of hit legitimately,
Yeah.
because it's not going to affect the the normal client that just has a house. You know what I mean? We're still going to have the methods that we utilize today, right? The PAs don't get involved that often on residential files, other than fires and stuff like that. They're larger claims, right?
Yeah.
That are complex claims. But the stuff this is being put on, and if you're watching this or you're watching a clip of this, and you're a building owner, right? Of commercial properties, this is the shit that affects you.
You need to ask the question.
Yeah.
You don't need to ask the question after the event happens and you find out that you can't hire a public adjuster, or you can't find local legal counsel, that you have to go to New York. This is all shit that we've been trying to tell people.
Whoever's editing this when we're done, pull this fucking clip out, because we need to make a PSA to, literally clients of mine, clients of all the roofers that are, roofers that are watching, contractors that are watching this. If you have clients that own fucking properties and they don't know this information,
Yeah.
not only, here's the other thing, selfishly, you're not going to have a fucking job.
Well, and
You're not going to get the fucking job.
part of the problem, and Eric, that's a great point for a PSA, is that a lot of the agents don't understand what an anti-PA endorsement is, and they don't understand what a New York arbitration is. They have no clue. They're selling the policy. They're not digging deep to find out what all that shit really means.
No.
So
They need to be educated as well. People need to be having conversations with them
yeah,
as well, right? And
Yeah.
and the thing is that the people that they think are on their side are going to be giving them that education. Literally, after we get done with this today, I'm going to call my couple of guys that I work with on the insurance side to be like, hey,
but do you have an anti-PA endorsement?
let's make sure that the stuff that you're selling to your clients, because that's one thing, is that people don't understand, the general public, they don't understand the difference between their agent and their carrier.
No.
They think they're one and the same.
Yeah,
and
no idea.
and they're not, right? The agent really doesn't know fuck all about what they're selling as a general rule, right?
About what underwriting's got in a policy. Or,
Yeah, right. They know they know about as much as we do. They read the deck page.
Yeah.
Right. And they know you've got an RCV policy, you've got tone upgrade, blah, 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 blah. Right. They don't usually go that deep, and they're not going to know that they've got a New York mediation fucking clause.
Yeah.
In the you know what I mean? Nobody's going to read that or know
So
that.
one of your clients out here, a big manufacturing facility, gets whacked by a tornado. You're going out to help them. Sorry, you can't get a PA. And, if this is, if you need a lawyer, you got to find one in New York.
Okay, so quick question on that then. All right. So they put an anti-PA endorsement in, so you can't hire a PA, and then they're saying the only way that you can resolve the claim is through New York mediation. So it's got a clause that you're not allowed to sue.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
Yep. Yep.
How the fuck is that legal?
I'll let you know in a year and a half.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
But on the other side, like as a business owner, like I applaud their ingenuity of figuring out how to fucking make themselves the most profitable company on the planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and listen,
but Jesus, man, like, we want to fuck a lot of people to get there.
yeah. Yeah. And you know what? From about 2015 to 2019, not to defend insurance companies, but between those 4 years, they took probably the most catastrophic hits being in business that you could ever look back on.
Oh, really?
Because of hurricanes, because of wildfires, because of, I mean, if you look at those 4 years, so I think the insurance company looked at a way to be able to stop litigation, to stop public adjusters, to stop appraisal. And I think they spent, and this is the only thing myself and a couple of the attorneys that part of our group have come up with this analogy that they sat in a back room in London somewhere and said,
smoking cigars,
how can we get rid of public adjusters, appraisal, and lawyers handling insurance claims? And I think they ran through a couple of years of scenarios of how they could do this. And then 2021 is when we first started seeing the anti-public adjuster endorsement come out. And it only came out in a couple policies here and there. And then 2022, when Hurricane Ian hit, we were seeing it in policies everywhere in Fort Myers.
Really?
Everywhere. Yeah.
Just commercial or also in residential?
Commercial and residential.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what the hell do you do when you find it? You're just like, sorry.
Can't help it, but you have this clause in your policy.
Man.
Yeah.
And so then at the end of the day,
I have one of our members of our association got hired with an existing client on a $35 million claim from Hurricane Ian. Didn't know it was a velocity policy. Didn't know they had the anti-PA endorsement. They got the policy and had to turn the claim back. $35 million claim. I would have lost my mind. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what they're saying is, and what we're supposed to accept then, is that they are the all-knowing entity that knows exactly how things are supposed to be rebuilt and done.
Yep.
And they have the best interests of their policy.
They have total control.
Yep. Total control. How is that not like, I know it's not the same thing, but like, I mean, you've got monopoly laws on the books.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I know it's not a monopoly, but like, the same theory and idea.
Well, it's almost like the theory of managed repair.
Yes.
Because they are ultimately stating, this is what we're willing to pay. Our contractors and our GCs and our building consultants are willing to put the building back for this number. Either you're going to take this number or shove your knuckles in shit. You're not getting another patent.
But even with managed repair, and everybody knows managed repair is like bad sky.
Yeah.
Right. But even with managed repair, at least the way that I always had ever experienced it was that they basically were trying to trick the homeowner by sending out their managed repair person to do the fucking inspection. They weren't sending out adjusters.
Yep.
And then they were doing a desk adjuster Zoom call, basically, with the fucking adjuster, sending pictures to them to get it approved. And then the quote unquote inspector, who was also a contractor, would basically trick the homeowner into thinking that they had to sign with them, right?
Yep.
But, and then if the homeowner happened to call us, we'd be like, no.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
They're just suggesting it, and they're pushing you that way, but like you don't have to do any of that.
Right.
Have they rewritten some of those programs to where they're going into policies that if you sign up with that policy, you have to.
Citizens.
Okay.
Yep. They have a discount that if you get into their managed repair program, you pay less of a policy premium.
Got it. And is that more commercial or more residential?
Both.
Okay. Because where is Citizens problem?
Florida.
Florida?
Yep.
I mean,
The Middle East, the public adjusted.
Yeah.
There'll never be peace in Florida.
And
That's what our general counsel says all the time.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just.
I mean, are they even gonna have insurance down there?
Yeah, it's starting to wheel its way back down.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Not having claim. I mean, Florida, listen, 2020, 2021, and 2022, they had 3 significant hurricanes. I mean, they had Sally hit Pensacola, and Perdido. And then they had Ian that just wiped out, everything down there. So, the Florida insurance market took a big hit.
Bad.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of them just pull up and left.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, and this is, if insurance adjusters would just do their fucking job, you're not going to pay the extra expense of managing the claim internally. Right. So when an insurance company has a claim, they have costs associated with building consultants, experts, lawyers, accountants. They have all these costs that are just spinning. The money wheel is spinning. And as long as that claim's open, the money wheel spinning. Whereas if the adjuster comes out and says, hey, Chris, we got a $7 million loss here. I'm going to give you $6.8 million. Would you walk away? I'll cut my fee. I'll renegotiate my fee. As long as the client is happy, done.
Right.
But they don't have that ability. They don't have that authority. They don't have the decision-making power to do that.
Do you think it's because of the loss of the adjusters, like you said, or do you think it's intentional?
It's 100% intentional.
Okay. So it's not a symptom of something else that happened.
Yeah.
It's an intentional, let's do this to make it harder.
If you ever read Delay Deny Defend and the McKinsey study and all that, people's breaking points financially, and psychologically is about 90 to 120 days. So if they can keep that train moving until 90 or 120 days,
they win.
I'm done. Just give me my fucking check. I want to be done. I want my roof back on. I want my house put back together. I'm done dealing with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So what do you think is, I'd like to close out with something positive. That's just good. So what do you think in the industry, whether yours or mine or the industry as a whole, what do you think that's being done that is moving all of us in a positive directions?
I think one of the good things that's happening in the industry is, believe it or not, is stuff like we're doing right now, social media. People are starting to see that there's options out there for them. They don't have to take what's given to them. They can take and kind of, they can explore the fact that they can get help somewhere else, whether, they have to go to New York to get it, or they can call Eric and Eric can say, I'll get Chris to come out here and take a look at this for you.
Right.
People are starting to understand that there's options out there. And you're seeing the horror stories, the horror stories of, the little elderly couple in Fort Myers that can't rebuild their house because they got $15,000 when they needed, $100,000 to fix their house. I mean, much more of that stuff is being exposed.
And that's, I get social media has done a good job with that. I mean, I didn't know when I started in this industry. I mean, I started when I was a kid, but like when I started like growing the business and everything, I didn't even know what the fucking public adjuster was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like most people don't, right? And I would definitely say that I think that is a positive that social media has given you guys a little bit more of a platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that you can kind of be celebrated as like some people that are trying to assist, right? And again, just like contractors, there's bad fucking contractors out there. There's bad PAs out there.
There's bad lawyers out there. There's bad accountants out there.
Yeah, and there's bad insurance companies and there's bad adjusters and there's bad people on each side. And I think that I think what we ought to be doing is, there's a time and a place that we need to be calling out all these bad characters and all that kind of stuff. But I think we also need to be taking the time to make sure that we're calling out the good ones, right? Let's call out the good contractors that know how to write estimates and fucking actually know how to put a roof back together. Call out the good PA firms that would even have a conversation about, hey, let's make a settlement. I'll renegotiate my fee so that the property owner's happy and we can all move on and get the fucking job done. Because just making that statement alone shows that you actually give a shit about the client. Right? That doesn't mean we do shit for free because we fucking care about the client. Like, we're still a business, we have to make money.
Right.
But like the fact that you would even have that conversation, because there's so many others that would be like, no, fuck you. This is what I get, and fuck you if you can't rebuild it. That's a you problem. That's not a fucking me problem, right? You signed a contract, asshole.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think we need to celebrate. We need to make sure that we're highlighting and that we're celebrating the good guys, right? And again, just to go back to, I think that's why I really felt at home and at ease when I came and joined NAPIA and became an affiliate member, and like just being there and talking with all of these like high level like public adjusters that do give a shit about their clients. And like they would come up and be like, man, how could you help on this? And how could you help on this? And you know what I mean? Like whether I get a fucking job or not out of the relationships and the networking that I've done there, don't care, right? I care. I want a job, but don't care. Like I'm glad that we're all able to like have conversations and work together now and figure out solutions to problems. I hope that the dialogue keeps happening, right? Like as much as everybody wants to hate Steve and whatever, like Steve at least talks, right? Like I like Steve.
Right? I like Steve.
I don't agree with everything.
And you know what? He doesn't agree with some of the stuff that I say. And you know what? It's okay to disagree.
To be honest, I don't think he agrees with everything he says.
Listen, we all have a master to serve.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And I don't begrudge him the fact that, he's serving his master, but he also sees, and he's been very open about the fact about having professional representation.
Right.
So, he acknowledges that. So that's a step. Yeah. That's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah. Because, he was vocal about it at the last event.
At NAPIA and NAPIA both.
Yeah. So, I think that's important that we, we all love to hate, certain people in industries and stuff like that. But when we have people that are trying to at least talk and have dialogue about it, because if not, we're just going to fall into this hole where shit's slipping through cracks and fucking laws are being passed and policies are being penetrated by fucking, awful endorsements that are just completely fucking policyholders. We need to make sure that the dialogue keeps happening.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then I'm very glad. How long do you get to hold your role in this?
I'm done in June.
Oh, are you?
I become the immediate past president. So I'll still be involved. I'll still be,
this June?
Yeah.
So what do you have to get, a 1 year, 2 year?
Yeah, 1 year. Well, I've been an officer for 7 years, and I was on the board of directors for 3 years.
So nobody's going to be nice to me when I come back in January. Because buddy's not the president.
No, everybody's going to be nice to you. Listen, our group, like we talked about, they love learning.
Yeah.
They love networking. And you know what? If you can teach them something, they'll be your best friend. So
love that. Yeah. Because who was it that's taken over? Who's supposed to get
Matt Blonkin. He's the president. He's the president of Greenspan Adjusters International, based in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
But they got offices in Los Angeles, New Mexico.
I don't think I met him.
I don't know if you met him or not, but I'll introduce you.
Okay.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Cool.
So,
I'm looking forward to coming back.
Yep. We're looking forward to having you.
This podcast was completely fucking different, everybody. So just an FYI, this was totally different than the route that we went the last time. But that's how it always happens, right? I had a great time. I always give the floor back to the guests for the last couple of minutes, just in case there was something I missed or something you want to make sure that you leave people with that we might have moved past too quickly.
No, I think we covered a lot of good ground. And I don't think we missed anything. And I will say, if anybody has questions or they have problems or whatever, Eric's got my contact info. I'm on social media. Hit me up. No question is a stupid question. Yeah, he who asks a question is
That's not true. There are a lot of stupid questions, but we won't treat you like it was a stupid question.
Remember this quote: "He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes, not for forever."
That is absolutely correct. Yes, you have to ask questions.
Yes.
I learned more. Here's the one thing that I'll leave everybody with. When I started growing my business and I started doing more and more insurance, like I was at commercial work, but I started doing more and more insurance commercial work. I learned more by surrounding myself around certain PAs and like some attorneys and things like, and to be fair, I did it on accident, right? Like it was never an intention of mine that I was going to do it, but I just kind of naturally started doing it. And I just started absorbing all of this information. There is so much that you can learn just by being in these circles and surrounding yourself with these people to have the conversations, and then understand that like they're going to learn from you as well, right? From me, like you said, we go to these things and there's a lot of people in there that don't understand certain things about what we do, right? And once we start understanding what each party does individually, to your point of staying in our lane, right? I don't like the phrase because it sounds very arrogant sometimes. I think it depends on who's saying it, right? But like, if somebody tells me to stay in my lane, and in my mind I'm like, yeah, but I fucking know more than you do about this subject, right? So get the fuck out of my lane, right? But the idea is that we all have specialties, right? And we all have things that we're specifically very good at, and we should be leaning on each other as a team to be able to say, you're really fucking good at that.
Right.
So like you should do that and get paid for that so that I can get paid for what I'm really good at. And we should keep having that dialogue. And again, we should be celebrating the good people in that. And I appreciate you for being one of those good people that genuinely cares about the people that they represent, but also being one of the beacons and the lights and the voices, right? To be able to have conversations with all of the parties too.
Listen, there's a lot of I've met a lot of great people in this industry, and not just at NAPIA. Listen, if it wasn't for Wind and Storm, I wouldn't know you and Paul.
Right.
TW.
Yep.
I've met a lot of great people in this industry who are of the same mindset as mine. And you know what? We're the guys who have got to be the good guys are the ones who have to carry the industry.
Yeah, we got to be better.
Yeah.
We got to be
every day. We got to
get better.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. This was an awesome episode. I know it was very niche and very dialed in, but like there's so much good information here. You need to watch this twice is what I'm thinking, right? Watch it and listen to it and take some fucking notes because there's a lot of information here that you can use. Remember, we have no fucking sponsors. We did get some new tins. Yep, show the tin. So we got the new Be Authentic tins with Zen tin. But since Zen won't fucking respond and sponsor the fucking show, fuck it. I'm not going to show Zen anymore. I'm going to get the Zen tins, and you're putting your Skull Bandits or whatever the fuck in there, right?
Yeah.
So we can put whatever we want. We even got D&M ones made as well. So not sponsored by anybody. So share this shit. Share this show. If you got anything valuable out of this, please share it with your network.
And
share it with your friends. Comment. Do all that bullshit. And I guess the only other sponsor that we would have is me and Cult Culture Movement. So if you are looking for a place to find a group of people to hold you accountable, to grow as a human, grow inside of your business, we do a lot of different things with leadership and learning about trust and empathy and authenticity and giving meaning to your people. Reach out. We'd love to have you check out one of our calls and be part of the group. So really sponsored by D&M Roofing, by Be Authentic, and by the Cult Culture Movement. So check us out. Everybody, again, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember to be authentic or get the fuck out.
Can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipe.